I can only answer that. The viewpoint of the boy asked, I talked with some of the boys, I said, how do you feel about the demonstrations at home and race riots and all of these things? And who knows the real answer to this thing? I mean, I feel sorry for anyone who has to make the decisions, honestly.
Dale Evans was Hollywood's shining cowgirl, the beloved queen of the West, known for her music, faith, and loving partnership with Roy Rogers. But beneath the glittering rhinestones and cheerful smiles was a life marked by secret pain, broken marriages, and devastating loss that she kept hidden for decades. What if the woman who sang Happy Trails carried regrets and heartbreak so deep they haunted her final days? What truths did she reveal only after years of silence? Truths that cast a shadow over her celebrated legacy. The story behind the star is far more complicated and painful than anyone ever imagined. Early struggles and first marriages. Before Dale Evans became the Queen of the West, she was Frances Octavia Smith, a young woman shaped by hardship from the very start. Born on October 31st, 1912, in Uvalde, Texas, her early years were far from the glamorous life Hollywood would later craft. Raised partly by her uncle in Arkansas amid an unstable family environment, she learned to face life's challenges early. By the age of 14, she had already eloped, stepping into adulthood under immense pressure. At just 15, Frances became a mother to a son, Tommy, a milestone that shifted her life dramatically. The young marriage to Thomas F. Fox soon collapsed, leaving her a divorced teenage mother struggling alone in Memphis. The social stigma of single motherhood in the 1920s was harsh, and Frances faced this with little support. To survive and care for her son, she turned to music, taking work as a singer and pianist on local radio stations. Her talent was undeniable, but the path to success was littered with rejection and financial insecurity. Hollywood demanded clean images, and being a single mother did not fit that mold. By 1929, her first divorce was official, and with it came the challenge of reinventing herself in a merciless industry. Determined, she remarried that same year to August Wayne Johns, hoping for stability. Despite new hopes, that second marriage faltered, ending in 1935. The constant upheaval in her personal life mirrored the struggles she faced professionally. It was during this period that a key turning point came. A radio station manager suggested a stage name that would change everything. Frances Octavia Smith became Dale Evans, a crisp, catchy identity that carried promise and fresh momentum. The name change helped her secure a contract with 20th Century Fox, unlocking professional doors previously closed. Yet the shadows of her past lingered. Studio executives pressured her to conceal her true history, forcing her to claim that Tommy was not her son, but her younger brother, a fabrication that would haunt her for years. This lie, meant to protect her career, weighed heavily on her sense of self. Behind the polished facade, Dale lived a double life, hiding the very son she loved, while forging a public image of wholesomeness. This secret became one of many she carried silently, a burden she would later confess had shaped her inner world. Her early life was a complex mix of survival, sacrifice, and transformation, foundations that underpinned everything she became. By the mid-1930s, Dale was rising steadily in show business despite these hidden pains. After finalizing her divorce from August Wayne Johns, she entered another marriage in 1937 with Robert Dale Butts, a pianist and arranger. This third marriage offered new collaboration, but again lacked true closeness and dissolved by 1946. Each chapter in her personal life added layers to Dale's resilience, but also deepened the cracks beneath her public success. The story of her beginnings sets the stage for the deeper revelations that would later emerge about the real costs behind her shining career and celebrated image. Her early years were a crucible that forged a talented artist, but also a woman carrying secrets she wouldn't fully confront until much later. Even as Dale's stardom grew, the hidden truths about her personal life, especially those tied to Hollywood's image-making, began to cast long shadows that she struggled to escape. Hollywood's dark secrets. Dale Evans's rise to fame came at a steep personal cost, especially when it came to the stringent demands of Hollywood studios. Early in her career, the pressure to maintain a perfect public persona forced her into painful deception. The most damaging of these was the lie that her son Tommy was her brother, a ruse concocted by studio executives to shield her from the stigma of single motherhood. This fabrication wasn't a mere detail, but a defining element of her public identity for over a decade. Dale had to live with the constant inner conflict of hiding her own child, while outwardly presenting the image of a youthful, untarnished starlet. The strain of this lie left deep wounds, affecting her relationship with Tommy and casting a shadow over her sense of authenticity. Dale was on a roller coaster ride of emotions during her career's advancement, among the rejections and skepticism. If someone had a problematic past, he/she was always pushed aside or made to be quiet. It was the industry's need for the unblemished that led to the singing of the angels in heaven. And eventually, Dale, the talented one, had to suffer through it. The impact on her personal life was really huge. In the years following, Dale admitted that the weight of pretending to deny being a mother and to hide other personal hardships was a weight that she bore alone. The untruth about Tommy was not just a PR strategy. It turned out to be a mental imprisonment. Even when she hardly mentioned it, it was steadily depleting her self-esteem. Ultimately, her connection with Roy Rogers would give her the chance to remove this mask. After securing Roy as her husband, only then could she accept Tommy sex-wise and take her motherly role without the fear of Hollywood's backlash. This transition marked a watershed moment, providing a slight amount of liberty from the lying that had characterized her early life to a considerable extent. However, the wounds inflicted during the period of enforced silence were still there. The narrative of Dale is a story that such a great actor also has a downside. The way the industry could manipulate and control a personal truth to fit a marketable mold. Her case was not exceptional, but her bravery in later years to lift these veils of the truth made her tale all the more fascinating. The rise of her star in Hollywood was due to her talent and hard work, but at the same time was overshadowed by the price of necessary lies that molded the woman behind the scenes. The public's face of the star hid a slight bitterness that came from the loss of her original self. Dale was always treading the thin line of balancing public success with personal pain, which was a reality of many celebrities shaped by the ruthless image culture of Hollywood. This contradictory time in her life determined her future relationships and the difficulties in love and family that she would have to face long after the spotlight had faded. The complexities of Dale's early relationships mirrored these struggles with identity and truth, leading her down a winding path until fate introduced a new chapter with Roy Rogers. Meeting Roy Rogers and new beginnings. In 1944, Dale Evans's career took an unexpected but transformative turn when she starred alongside Roy Rogers in the film The Cowboy and The Señorita. The on-screen chemistry was undeniable, and their connection soon grew into a profound partnership off-screen as well. Neither was free at the time. Roy was married to his second wife, Arlene, and Dale was still wed to Robert Dale Butts. But fate had other plans. Tragedy struck Roy in 1946 when Arlene died shortly after giving birth to their son, Roy Jr., known as Dusty. Suddenly, a widower with 3 children to rear, Roy found solace and companionship in Dale, who herself understood the pain of loss and broken relationships all too well. Their bond deepened through shared grief and mutual support, growing stronger and more intimate. By the end of 1947, Roy proposed in a manner as iconic as their partnership, while sitting atop his horse Trigger, moments before entering a rodeo arena in Chicago. On December 31, 1947, they married at the Flying L Ranch in Oklahoma, embarking on a union that would outlast all of Dale's previous marriages. This was Roy's 3rd marriage and Dale's 4th, but unlike before, Their marriage endured with a strength forged in hardship. Their wedding symbolized not only a personal new beginning, but the merging of two families. Dale embraced Roy's three children, Cheryl, Linda Lou, and Roy Jr., while Roy welcomed Tommy into their fold. For the first time, Dale could openly acknowledge Tommy as her son, free from the heavy cloak of past deceptions. Together, Roy and Dale became Hollywood's king and queen of the West, a beloved duo whose fame transcended film and music. Their partnership was marked by love, faith, and shared values, creating a wholesome image that captured the hearts of millions across America. Their blended family grew further as they adopted 4 more children, creating a bustling household filled with diverse backgrounds. Professional success came quickly, fueled not only by chemistry, but by complementary talents. Dale's voice and songwriting enriched their musical endeavors, while Roy's cowboy charisma anchored their film and television presence. Their roles on the popular Roy Rogers Show from 1951 to 1957 cemented their status as Western icons, beloved by families nationwide. Behind the scenes, they balanced humor and hardship, blending personal grief with career demands. The resilience that had characterized Dale's earlier life now found new expression in a partnership that promised stability and love, even while the shadows of past tragedies lingered quietly. Their relationship became a beacon of hope and renewal, a second chance forged in pain, but blossoming into shared joy. Yet, beneath the love and success lay truths that Dale would ultimately reveal only in her final years, stories that tempered the fairy tale with human complexity and mortal regret. The narrative of their marriage, rich with both triumph and difficulty, highlights the deep personal costs hidden beneath Hollywood's shining surface, setting the stage for the heartbreaks and revelations to come. Tragedy strikes the family. In 1950, Dale and Roy's lives were marked by both joy and profound heartbreak, with the birth of their only biological child together, Robin Elizabeth. Born with Down syndrome and serious health complications, Robin's arrival came with challenges that were rarely discussed publicly in that era. Amid whispers and judgment about her daughter's condition, Dale and Roy chose love and care over silence and shame. Their embrace of Robin was a quiet act of defiance against societal pressure to hide children with disabilities. Tragically, Robin passed away just before her second birthday in 1952, a devastating loss that shook Dale deeply. The grief she experienced was so intense it tested her faith, leaving her feeling lost amid sorrow. Yet, from this pain, Dale found a way to channel her heartbreak into a greater purpose. In 1953, she wrote Angel Unaware, a heartfelt book sharing Robin's story as a message of hope and faith from heaven. The book not only astonished Hollywood, but also made a tremendous impact throughout the U.S. and scored very high on the empathy meter with a lot of families who went through the same difficulties. Dale's openness was rare at a time when the public was not only not quite aware of, but also the rigors of dealing with children with special needs. Dale used her position as a gatherer and a giver of the public's compassion and understanding, which eventually made up the public's attitudes towards such situations long before the advocacy of disabilities became a reality. Those families were writing to her with their stories of sorrow and rejuvenation, as well as becoming a solid community connected by common experience and therapy. In Oklahoma, the County Council for Mentally Challenged Children paid homage to Dale's work and dedication by changing the name of their center to hers, thus giving a permanent homage to Robin. This honor was the turning point in Dale's career from a mere entertainer to the spokesperson for troubled parents. Dale, while being aware of her public advocacy role, was, however, very much a personal sorrow carrier. The death of Robin was one of the major issues that influenced her later thoughts and confessions. The hurtfulness of the situation was superimposed on her cheerful personality, making it difficult to separate the two. Dale and Roy's family underwent a magnificent transformation in the years that followed, as they were blessed with the addition of many children, both adopted and fostered, from various backgrounds, who were all very warmly received in their home. However, in 1964, they had to pay another tragic price when their 12-year-old daughter Debbie, who had been adopted by them, died in a terrible church bus accident. The abruptness of the loss reopened the scars that had never really healed. Dale later on referred to Debbie's death as one of the blackest periods of her life, as she was completely overtaken by a sense of powerlessness, guilt, and a flood of unanswerable questions. The mourning that ensued was very intense and even more unpleasant than their loss from before. In a bid to forget the sorrowful memories, they moved from their longtime ranch home to a new one in Apple Valley, California, and were thus looking for a new beginning. But still, no shift of location could take away the pain. From now on, Dale's public pronouncements and literary works took a more critical and forthright approach to the topics of suffering and faith. The delightful Hollywood cowgirl was replaced by a woman who discussed the intricacies of mourning, all the while engaging in her own silent struggle with faith, activism, and the tensions in her personal life. The pain of personal loss and public healing fueled a new chapter in Dale's life as she blended her heartfelt beliefs with outspoken advocacy in a changing America. Public, faith, and advocacy. By the 1960s, Dale Evans had become not only an entertainment icon, but also a passionate advocate for Christian faith in public life. Her influence extended beyond film and music into political and social arenas, where she championed causes reflecting her convictions. In 1964, she addressed thousands at a rally in Los Angeles, calling for the reinstatement of mandatory school prayer and declaring that America's children needed spiritual guidance. Dale aligned herself with conservative political movements, actively campaigning for presidential candidate Barry Goldwater. Her public speeches and personal example reinforced her image as a moral compass for many Americans during a time of cultural change and social upheaval. Her faith was not just private, it shaped her career, activism, and public persona. Her music and public appearances were infused with themes of hope, perseverance, and divine guidance, resonating deeply with audiences who sought reassurance. From her heartfelt songs to her commanding presence on stage and screen, Dale embodied a blend of artistry and evangelical fervor. She became a symbol of steadfast belief amid shifting values. However, beneath the vibrant public figure was a complex personal reality marked by faith tested through hardship. While Dale preached hope and optimism, she was no stranger to doubt, loneliness, and emotional strain, especially within her demanding family life.
Sit down, Roy. Sit right there. Sandy, you go over and sit by Mommy. Dusty, you sit in here too, pal.
Her advocacy was born not only of conviction, but of lived experience. Dale's role as a faith leader also brought her into contact with fellow believers and political activists, deepening her engagement with faith-based initiatives and community outreach. She leveraged her celebrity to promote causes she believed would strengthen family values and societal morality. This commitment extended her influence well beyond Hollywood. Her outspoken positions occasionally sparked controversy, particularly in the rapidly changing cultural landscape of the 1960s and beyond. Yet Dale remained unshaken, standing firmly by her beliefs despite shifting public opinion. Her willingness to speak boldly endeared her to many and set her apart from more cautious entertainers. At the same time, her faith and advocacy were a source of personal sustenance, helping her cope with the losses and struggles that marked her private life. Public ministry offered a channel for healing, as well as a platform to inspire others facing their own challenges. Dale's life reflected a continuous interplay between personal pain and spiritual purpose. Her journey illustrates how celebrity can intersect with genuine personal belief to create meaningful impact. Dale Evans' public faith and political advocacy left an imprint on American culture, influencing both her fans and the wider social discourse for decades. While Dale's public life presented confidence and faith, her marriage revealed tensions and secrets she would reveal only with time, peeling back the layers behind the West's beloved queen. The strained marriage behind the scenes. Behind the glittering public image of Dale Evans and Roy Rogers was a marriage marked by complexity and quiet struggles. While fans saw a fairy tale couple embodying love and harmony, Dale later revealed the pressures and strains that shaped their relationship. Roy, often viewed as a gentle king of the cowboys, was in private a strict disciplinarian, especially when it came to raising their large family. His stern approach to parenting created a tension that sometimes left Dale feeling isolated and overwhelmed. Their demanding careers kept them apart for extended periods. Roy's filming schedules and touring commitments meant Dale often faced loneliness and emotional strain without the comfort of her partner's presence.
Yeah, how about that, Ellen?
Oh, hello, Roy. Well, I just thought it was sort of interesting, and, well, I guess I would be going out.
She confessed that no amount of applause or public adoration could erase the feelings of solitude she experienced during those times. The distance between them weighed heavily, complicating what appeared to be a perfect union. A different area of discord arose from Dale's continual fight with the Hollywood falsehood concerning her son Tommy. The 10-year-long pretense that he was her brother tormented her a lot, even after she got rid of it by marrying Roy. This deception had undermined a significant part of her identity, leaving deep wounds that not only affected her, but also the entire family. In spite of the difficulties, Dale continued to be loyal to Roy and their mixed family. She frequently referred to the love and respect that had united them for over 50 years, admitting that their marriage had its imperfections, but was nevertheless built on a solid commitment. Their bond surpassed the realms of deep love and the frailty of human imperfections together, portraying a more honest, albeit complicated picture of the everlasting union. Dale's frankness in later years about the less delightful sides of their marriage took many by surprise who had considered the couple as their role models. She addressed issues that were rarely allowed to be mentioned by stars at the time: solitude, disappointment, and the struggles of marriage, thus leading to a more sophisticated perception of marriage around the corners. Her transparency imparted more substance to her public character. The combination of fame, family, and personal trauma created a new perspective for Dale that helped her produce a lot of writing and speaking later. She turned her life into able stories of perseverance, faith, and the intricacies of love. This moment not only gave her the desired strength, but also the channel to reach others who were going through similar situations. But still, through all the tribulations, Dale always paid public tributes to Roy. He spoke about the hardships they went through together, but at the same time highlighted the unbreakable connection that outlasted everything else. This honesty and reverence for each other was a clear reflection of their life being complicated yet deep down profound. Their union, although constantly strained, proved to be a triumph of love and loyalty, one that mingled human flaws with a common spiritual pilgrimage. Through Dale's submissions, we are beckoned to lift the veil of myth and see the actual characters behind the Western narrative. The private truths that Dale brought into the light formed a sorrowful but effective contrast to the happy music and silver screen smiles, revealing the human cost that often remains hidden due to the glamour of celebrity. The truths Dale eventually laid bare about her marriage opened the door to candid confessions that shed light on her personal regrets and emotional scars, deepening the story of a woman shaped by both love and loss. Late life confession. In her final years, Dale Evans spoke more openly than ever before about the struggles and regrets that had long shadowed her life. She lifted the veil on the loneliness she endured during Roy's frequent absences, exposing a side of their marriage few had imagined. These confessions surprised many who had seen them as an unbreakable, joyful couple. Yet Dale was determined to share an honest narrative, embracing both the good and the bad in her life's journey. One of her greatest regrets centered on the deception forced upon her early in her career, the lie that Tommy was her younger brother rather than her son. Though she was eventually freed from maintaining this falsehood, she admitted, The years of hiding motherhood had deeply haunted her sense of authenticity. This burden lingered quietly for decades, gnawing at her personal identity. Dale also opened up about feelings of isolation during long periods when Roy was away filming or performing. The demands of celebrity took a toll on their intimate connection, leaving her to grapple with emotional strain without public acknowledgement. Her vulnerability in admitting this reflected a courageous willingness to confront painful realities. In interviews and speeches, Dale insisted she wanted to be remembered not for glamorous costumes or Hollywood fame, but for her ability to speak truthfully about suffering. She used candid storytelling as a means to help others heal, believing that exposing life's fractures made a person whole. This honesty touched many who had faced similar hardships in silence. Despite exposing the cracks in her marriage and personal life, Dale never stopped honoring Roy's memory. She consistently emphasized the love and respect that endured between them, demonstrating a complex but genuine affection that survived even the toughest challenges. Their story was far from perfect, but deeply human. Her confessions also revealed the internal conflict between public persona and private pain, a dichotomy she had managed to navigate for decades. By confronting this, Dale shattered the myth of seamless happiness surrounding celebrity couples. She showed that even icons carry burdens too heavy to hide forever. These late-life revelations shifted public perception of the legendary Queen of the West. They invited empathy for a woman who bore heartbreak with grace and who fought to reconcile her past with her faith and family. Dale's willingness to reveal these truths added a lasting dimension to her legacy. Her daughter Dodie echoed this sentiment, explaining that sharing both the good and the bad was essential to understanding who their mother truly was. Dale's journey toward openness was not just personal, but a gift to those seeking strength through adversity. In the end, these confessions painted a fuller portrait of a woman who faced life's trials with courage, faith, and honesty, qualities that defined her beyond Hollywood's bright lights. Final years and lasting legacy. As the years passed, the legendary Western duo of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans remained cultural icons cherished by generations. Even as television evolved and Hollywood's golden era gave way to new stars, their presence endured through nostalgia shows and film retrospectives. Dale, in particular, continued to intertwine her love of faith with public life, hosting a religious television program in the 1990s that reflected her lifelong commitment to spiritual outreach and healing. Roy's health started to deteriorate during the 1990s, and Dale became his reliable partner, who took care of him till his demise on July 6, 1998. His death brought to an end a union that had been more than 50 years, a relationship that was characterized by love, losses, and the complex realities that lay behind the public image. For Dale, the death of Roy was not merely a public affair. It was extremely personal and life-changing. She had to find her way through her last years without the man who had given so much to her identity and strength. Dale's health, in turn, started to deteriorate in the years after Roy's death. Physical problems, little by little, prevented her from being active, but the emotional burden she was carrying was even heavier. She became a thinker who gradually led her to be more open about the truths and burdens she had long kept hidden through the loss of her lifelong partner. This openness was proof of her longing to be real, even after half a century in the limelight. She did not shy away from discussing the solitude she went through when Roy was away for long periods of time because of his job, and the tension created by his parenting, which was quite strict. These disclosures exposed the main highlights of the marriage, where many had never seen the struggle behind the fairy tale marriage. Most poignantly, she revealed the deceit that was causing her to be isolated for years. The hiding of her son Tommy's true identity still affected her feelings of self. These revelations took the fans by surprise, but at the same time made the woman behind the rhinestone cowgirl image more relatable. Dale's family remembered that she was at peace and ready to leave the earth, even in the hardest times. The children talked about their mother as already being very calm and very much accepting, as though she possessed a deep feeling of being ready to meet Roy and their children, who had died too soon. On February 7, 2001, at the age of 88, she died, and one of the most enduring couples in Hollywood had their story come to an end. However, it did not just close a chapter, but also opened a door to a tale that was richer and more intricate than what most people thought. Life beyond the cinematic world was not easy. It was a blend of faith, resilience, sorrow, and hope all mixed together. Dale Evans was not only a singer or an actress, but she was a person who had a lot of grief to bear, yet still found ways to turn it into charity and love. She successfully altered the view of society towards the children who were disabled, and at the same time was a very open person about her struggles. Thus, a legacy was built that overshadowed the very field of entertainment. Dale and Roy are still remembered as the king and queen of the West, representatives of a past period of Western films with good storytelling. But the truth is, where Dale later opened up and honestly confessed the unrecorded parts of hardships, giving up, and making it through, this is the real legacy. Her sharing of both victory and defeat was a significant contributor to the story being so well-liked and remembered. It brings to our mind that human complexity is very often hidden under the legendary status. Dale Evans's life was a blend of fame, faith, love, and hidden pain, revealing that even legends carry deep human struggles. Her courage to share her truth reminds us that healing begins with honesty. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more untold tales of the icons you thought you knew.